You've got the option for Avenge for the swap here for Neon. You don't have the best heroes to maximize the aura, at least in terms of range, but you can kind of still make that work. Minus armor is always nice with a Magnus. Swap's always going to be nice to take out whoever's in the chrono. So that is something for Neon to consider. If they're worried about the Leshrac, something like a Nyx works out nicely there. Gives you some good follow-up stun after an RP as well, if that is something they were worried about, although with an ET, probably not a big worry at all if you use your spells right. So I think Neon have to kind of look at the supports they want to pick up. I think when it comes down to cores, any melee core with a Magnus is already okay. You're going to have to deal with the same issues against the Void no matter what melee core you pick up. Lifesteal could still work, as you mentioned, but they go to Phoenix instead. So they're tying into the team fight they get with the Magnus RP. RP Egg plus Stomp from the ET is really strong, and the split on top of it. So a lot of wombo combo coming out from Neon. As long as they don't get caught in the chrono and they go first, then Neon can kind of make that work. Same thing goes for T1. If they get the jump first, then they can clean up fine. Gonna be a battle of initiation here, or the battle of whoever stays far apart enough from each other.
Okay. I'm not really revealing too much of their hand yet, Neon. T1. Looking for that fourth pickup now. About a minute of reserve time left, and neither team really has much reserve time left to make these final pickups and bans. Especially Neon at 16 seconds reserve time. T1, they'll continue thinking about it. I'm sorry that March left the lobby, John, by the way. Didn't really talk about that to the viewers, but March did indeed join the lobby for a whole minute or so and said hello. But as soon as John, started being his standard self, March just quickly left the building. I don't blame him, John. Would have done the same thing.
Yeah. I'm just glad he dropped by, said hi. We were saying whether or not he dropped in. I guess he must have heard it and did drop by. So I appreciate the gesture. He gave me the smile, which you know what that means. Still, the draft continues here, Mike. Interesting pickups. Clockwork comes out for Neon, so what our play hard hero on office is up in the air, right? Phoenix could be off, Clock could be off, Magnus could be off. So lots of options there. T1, a little bit more straightforward. Sky comes out, and you've got this Mystic Flare combo with a Void. You've got the Silence and the Amplify for the Sky to play with a Leshrac. Now, you love pointing it out when the Sky is there, though. A Glimmer Cape will just ruin him, and that will go for the Leshrac as well. So Glimmer Cape, Hype is going to ruin the magic damage so far from T1. That's something Neon's going to have to perhaps look for on a hero to carry. And again, Neon, they're kind of keeping their cards close to their chest with the flexibility on their offlane and supports. We're going to have to see what they hammer in for what looks to be their Natsume hero they're saving for last year.
Well, they've lost the Spectre option now, so you don't really have that available, and that's kind of one of the weaknesses about leaving the position 1 this late, is you are going to lose a lot of the popular options for yourself. The less popular options are still there, of course, and the one that comes to mind now is the Troll Warlord, of all things. I think it could fit in quite nicely. It might be a little bit challenging into the Oracle, though, as you are going to have the False Promise there to kind of negate the Battle Trance of the Troll Warlord, as well as the Edict as well, the Fate's Edict to just disarm the Troll. But what else have you got? I mean, you've still got the Lifestealer if you do want that, unless you just run something. Jug, sure, that's another one. No,
oh, there it is. You love this one. Ricky comes through.
I do love myself a Ricky, John. Can't believe I didn't bring it up myself, but there it is. It's not looking like a bad Ricky game, all things considered, right? Like, there's a lot of targets for this Ricky to go after, especially once it does have the Diffusal Blade up. And in terms of farming that Diffusal Blade, it's not really going to take too much time because you do have that Empower.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of flash farm here for the Ricky coming through. We've seen Natsume play the Ricky a bunch back in the Droid days, so we know this is a hero he can play. It is really nice with a Magnus RP into tricks with a smoke on top. The smoke can also save your Phoenix a bit. Really good combos coming out. You mentioned soft targets here. Sky is going to be an amazing one. which means that our Sky is either going to look for a fast Force Staff or a fast Ghost Scepter. One of those two has to come out here. The Oracle as well should expect to build up that way. And we'll see if Neon can get to that fast start. Diffusal timing going to be key for Ricky. T1 do close out to the Legion Commander, our classic Cuckoo here on the off. He loves playing this out. That does give them a bit of a save and a one really strong combo with the Sky. So if we got this amazing duel and the duel and flare combination with the Skyrat Mage, that should lead to some really strong snowball effect for Cuckoo. We'll see if they can hit that level 6 timer and kind of run down fast with this kind of combination in their draft.
Well, I do like both drafts here. This should be a very interesting game one, and you know, it's kind of like I said before as well, right? It's although the standings are favoring T1 quite a lot, I wouldn't really doubt Neon, because they do tend to pull off some pretty interesting upsets if you aren't too careful. So we'll see how it does pan out. They are also going to be kind of desperate to get some more points on the board. See how they can make it work. We should be getting into this game number 1 of this Best of 2 series in just a moment. Sometime I'll be able to tell you about my experience, John. I recently had an experience going to a Korean barbecue restaurant. 'Cause we are casting T1 after all. I've been to Korean barbecue many times, John. It's nothing new. But there is something I wanted to bring up with you. That's kind of... It's been bothering me a bit.
Okay. I mean, let me know. Come on. We're not going to miss out on much here.
Well, I went to this restaurant, you know, took the wife, having a good old time. And it's always when they bring over the meat and stuff you're meant to cook on the barbecue, right? Every time I go to a Korean barbecue place, they start cutting up and cooking the meat for me.
Oh.
And you know,
I see.
Half the fun of Korean barbecue is the fact that you cook it yourself, right? That's kind of the fun part. So what they do is they always bring over the meat. Mind you, they don't give me chopsticks either. They always give me a fork, which is kind of upsetting as well. And they start cooking the meat for me. And I told the waitress, hey, I want to cook the meat. And she gave me this look of disgust and completely ignored me and kept cooking it for me. Just kept going.
Oh, that's sad.
Why did they do that to me, John? Is it because I'm not a... Is you know, I'm not, you know, I'm obviously not culturally, you know, Asian, I guess, or Korean, if you wanna call it that.
Yeah.
Is that why, John? They hate me?
I don't know. I don't know. That is very strange. Like I've never encountered that. Like in here, because we've got a lot of Korean. I don't know if I can say immigrants. We do have a lot of Koreans that live in the city, in my city. So we've got a lot of actual Korean-run restaurants. I was thinking of the word for grandma, but I forget. Like Korean-run restaurants, really good stuff. We usually don't get offered to get cooked unless they usually ask you. It's like, hey, you know, you make an order. Like, do you want us to cook or do you want to cook it? So there's an option if you're just kind of scared of fire for whatever reason. You go to a Korean barbecue and you're scared of fire. It sounds like a bad idea. So, but it is an option. I don't know why. You should be a bit more forceful. I think you're a bit too nice, Mike. Despite your appearance with a big beard, you are a really nice guy. Just be more forceful. Just tell them straight. Pound your fist on the table and say, "I will grill my meats on the Barbie," as an Australian. It's your right.
No.
Also, I want to point out one thing. Playhard did say. Playhard said, "Good luck, mga owen."
Well, what does that mean, John? I don't know what it means.
It's Oh, now I can't actually say.
Oh, well.
Okay. Yeah, good luck, my the genitals. My genitals.
Oh,
yes.
no.
Yes.
Well,
and
Natsumi...
Jackie
Natsumi's, yeah. Okay, Jackie Mao. Yeah, Jackie does not like being called that, by the way.
Yeah.
I believe he does not enjoy it whatsoever. So, Natsumi already kind of hitting the soft spot here for Jackie. I do like that from Natsumi, just really trying to get the psychological damage going.
Yeah, just getting it done. You know, that's how you got to do it. And Sephiroth was saying Scam Yapaj talking to you for some reason. It's like, what are you guys up to? Like they're on different teams. You should know that.
All for a bit of fun, John. All for a bit of fun. That was my experience, by the way, in the Korean barbecue restaurant. Very upsetting. I didn't get to cook my meat, John. It was.
Gotta be more forceful. Gotta be forceful, Mike.
She scared me.
Stand your ground. I'm surprised it's not the other way around. Still, let's watch these lanes unfold. Down mid, we've got the Leshrac up against the Magnus. Gonna be a solid lane for farming for both sides. As you tend to see, of course, the Magnus can just clear out waves with a Shockwave. Once you get some power up as well, it should be a decent time. Still have the disadvantage of melee versus range. So K should be able to find some good stuff there, but both heroes should have a relatively easy ramp up in farm. Gonna have to look out how it unfolds towards those power runes, as both heroes will want to get topped up the bottle by then.
Absolutely. We are gonna have another pause coming out. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. Standard stuff. Have a look at the other lanes as well. Top lane, you do have Jackie and Whitemon there on the Void Oracle.
Natsumi.
What does that mean?
He's saying that he's shaking. Yeah, he's like shaking, quivering for some reason. And Sephiroth, who taught Sephiroth some Tagalog here? Pangit loss. That's like ugly loss instead of packet.
You know what's funny, John? Of all people, Whitemon's silent.
Yeah, that's a strange one. He didn't go for his Roche play as well. This is upsetting. We haven't seen Whitemon for a while, and this is how he greets us without the slap to Roche.
Not good news. We've seen what happens when Whitemon doesn't touch the Roshan, and it's definitely very bad news for him and side of T1. So we are going to have the go-ahead. As I was saying, John, top lane, Jackie and Whitemon going to be there, up against Scam and... Where is the other person? There we go. Play hard. He's pulling the wave right now on the clockwork. Looks like he'll go for the standard pull back behind the tier 1 tower. See if he can try to secure his own level 2. Scam not really going to leave him be to get that level 2. It looks like Scam does want the farm and XP for himself. He tells Play Hard to just get back to work. Go annoy the enemy.
Yeah, it's a bit funny because Playhard's supposed to be their pos 3, but he's still playing like he's the 4, right? He's roaming outside the lane. He's not focused too much on the last hits, and I think that's one place where Neon can really shine. You've got this 3 that naturally plays a bit more sacrificially, so Playhard's just enabling Scam to play a greedier 4 as well, get some ramp up in the Phoenix. This does mean it's a smooth lane for Jackie. Like this Void is not under any contestation, so Jackie's going to have a good time farming up. And you've got to watch that. If you let Jackie farm, we've seen that happen before when he was in Motivate Trust. He gets away to a very good start if you let that happen.
And that he does. Of course, the final lane, the bot lane, Cuckoo and Zephyr, going to be up against Natsumi and Genuel. Natsumi, I mean, he has great regen on the Riki, but it could be a bit of a tough time here up against this Legion Commander and Skyrath Mage. As you can see, Cuckoo not really afraid to just run at the side of Neon, this off lane, and it's one of the real strengths of the Legion Commander is having so much sustain on this hero. Just make it quite difficult to go up against.
Yeah, it's really solid lane for T1 to hold on to. Like the regen you mentioned, you're not going to be able to harass out Cuckoo. It is hard to harass out Natsumi because of his base regen as well. So it's a steady farming lane. I think that is perfectly fine for T1 as they get a massive spike if they get their levels uncontested. And for the most part, they are allowed to just get that EXP. So once you get that level 4 to level 6 spike, you are going to look for a little bit more aggression, especially once the 6 is up and running in both of these heroes.
Oh, Natsumi. He's going to be able to Blink Strike away. Has the tricks of the trade just in case he needs it. Copying a lot of damage, but we'll go through a bit more regen. Genuel does go for the small camp pull, so it's going to try and reset the equilibrium a bit in this bot lane. Cuckoo will be forced to just farm up and pull the wave away back towards his own tier 1 tower. So far, very quiet between the two teams. No one really rushing to get too many kills going. I'd say overall, though, in terms of CS so far, 2 out of 3 lanes are seemingly favoring Neon. The bot lane, Natsumi, having a good time, and of course you have Paj in the mid lane. On that Magnus, also having a pretty splendid time.
Yeah, it's a steady farm coming out for Neon. They're just kind of winning out in these trades by a small margin. Like, you're not lagging too far behind on T1, except for the mid lane. That's the only outlier. Yopaj has really secured his farm there. Carl is just not matching up in the same way, and he's copying a lot of damage now to Yopaj, but should be able to get a nice rune. Just regen rune for his troubles.
That is very unfortunate for Carl. He has to watch his enemy go take a regen rune after dishing out that much damage. Yopaj is going to be more than happy to get back to farm. No problems here for him. The top lane, Whitemon copying a lot of damage out from Skem, and the Icarus Knife is going to be out as well, but it's not going to be enough. In fact, Whitemon self-cancelled by Playhard, but Jackie is still going to chase down this Phoenix. Skem getting very, very low. Either one's going to be the first blood, and it is going to be Skem going down the Phoenix. Whitemon still somehow alive as Playhard does try to chase him down with the battery assault, will eventually get the kill. But first blood will go the way of Jackie.
And that's a big pickup for Jackie. Again, we've already talked about how Jackie does with a good start. This is pretty much a free lane. He's been getting some good farm. He gets the first blood gold as well. So that means his second raid pant is going to be up really quick, and he's just going to have a good time here.
Bot lane, Zephyr able to clean up Genuel. Now tricks the trade out from Natsumi. Not going to prove to be enough. In fact, Zephyr kind of walking back in, almost daring him to just try and blink strike back in. Jackie, meanwhile, top lane does eventually go down to the damage of Skem. Does burn out to the Fire Spirit damage. That's going to be a very important kill for Neon to pick up, as you gave that first blood gold away, so you want to just try and take something back. Meanwhile, mid, skewer back onto Carl now by Yopaj, and a stomp will come in from Januel, and Yopaj still going to chase down Carl. Rocket Flare going to come in to help out, and the shockwave will be there very soon. And that should mean Carl is just set to die, but it's Split Earth zoning out Yopaj for a little bit. He's just going to keep up the chase. Carl's just dancing his way out of there, but that is a lot of range from a melee core, John. Yopaj just... You'd think he was holding a broom handle.
Yeah, that's always one of the really weird quirks for Dota 2 when you kind of walk attack on the elite. Just so strange, but Yopaj is not going to ask questions. He's happy with a pickup. He gets another rune as well at the 6-minute mark. Top bottle. He's going to be able to clear out some camps for himself, and he's a happy camper. Neon off to a good start, 3-2. Less than 1k lead. T1 not too far behind. They have left Cuckoo to farm up really well. So the level 6 in our Legion Commander coming up soon. And even the level gains here from Zephyr are going to be nice. So they go into Yopaj.
He's in big trouble here, and that's going to be another very important pick-off to get. This time T1, the ones that are going to take it. And you look at the CS board right now, John. Yopaj was right at the top by a mile. They do eventually set up a kill onto this Magnus. That should make Carl's life a little bit easier on this left rack.
Yeah, it's a really good pickup. Of course, we were seeing Carl fall behind, so it's a big one to take up. Neon and the downtime tool are getting some good stacks up, but Zephyr is spotting it out. So they should be aware of these stacks. They should know to contest the Magnus stacks. You don't want the Magnus and his core to kind of get this free time to farm up. And T1, again, they've got this lineup that explodes at level 6. They just need to find that opportunity to use their duels and use their spells to find some kills.
They have. Natsumi. Actually, mid lane. Oh. Carl. I think he got skewered back there by Yopaj. It's not going to commit the RP. No need for that. He just gets a nice skewer back and had enough to get the job done. Meanwhile, bot lane Natsumi trying to blink strike his way out of this weird situation he's got himself into. He is still dusted up, but it is about to wear off. Still Cuckoo had another one, and with that Zephyr able to get the kill with a concussive shot. They do get a very nice pick onto that pos 1 Ricky. That's one hero that doesn't really want to die. Feels like you are so set to try and follow this timing of getting this early diffusal blade, and dying like that is naturally just going to slow you down.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for Neon. Of course, that is some good punishment coming out from T1, and it's at level 6 by Cuckoo has the duel, just opts to use it. They don't have the Mystic Flare yet, but that's coming fairly soon. I think once the tome is up, if Zephyr doesn't have it, he'll have it by then. That's going to allow them to get a lot of those dual wins rolling. You also have level 6 now up on Jackie up top, so he can look to make a play with his chrono. Doesn't look like they're keen to really force anything out. Both sides are focusing more on farm. Playhard's getting some stacks up. You do have level 6 on Skem, but he's also not keen. Has his Meteor Hammer to clear out waves, though. This is the point when a Phoenix can just shove out waves really safely, and that's something T1 has to be a bit cautious about, as Skem has been farming up rather well on that offlane.
I believe it was actually GH who came up with this this Phoenix build-up of the Meteor Hammer into the Yules, but never mind that for a second, because mid lane, Whitemon is going to go down. Natsumi making a quick rotation in with his team, and that tier 1 mid tower is indeed going to die, but Cuckoo now rotating into the mid lane, does have the duel up, but can't quite get in range. In fact, now Playhard going to turn around with the cogs and the battery assault. Natsumi going into the backlines, but he's been silenced, and now the RP coming out from Yopaj with the tricks of the trade out. Cuckoo, he cannot make his way out of there. Yopaj, a great setup with that RP, and that's going to spell a bit of a disaster for T1, as they do lose 2 in the mid lane, and those were 2 cores being lost.
Yeah, just a clean sweep for Neon and finding that objective as well. And that's where Neon's lineup shines. Like, we talked about this from draft, but if they can land their spells out, if they can get their Riki in the middle of the RP, they can easily clean up. And guess what item the Riki has hanging around? He did have the broom handle he's passed on to Yopaj now. So that moment earlier on, Yopaj has a little bit more range to get an attack walk off. And T1's got to be a bit cautious as they do clump up mid. They want revenge in that mid tier 1.
Yopaj is just casually taking some stacks for himself. Of course, you don't really want to lose this mid tier 1 if you are Neon, but you did get the counter tier 1, right? So it's like, you don't really mind too much. It's one of those things. You got the tier 1 before the Leshrac did. Who the hell cares if you lose it eventually?
It's one of the things that the Leshrac really handles well. They can immediately rotate down bot as well. They're sitting on that chrono. Jackie looking for the opportunity, and it's only John Yuel to defend. They do have a couple of TPs, so they can go for the defense, but looks like they might just be happy having Skem push out top. Not going to be nice losing 2 tier 1s in this fast of fashion, though.
Well, Januel, he's been caught. Cuckoo does actually spot him out and is going to be able to take him out. Nice little play there from Cuckoo. And, well, that'll allow the setup for the bot tier 1. Of course, Neon have already set up for the top tier 1 as well, so they directly trade. Both teams finding equal objectives. And that'll still give a 1k net worth lead over to Neon Esports. In terms of farm, John, you look at that net worth board and all 3 cores from Neon are at the top. However, down towards the bot lane, Playhard wasn't a spot or bother, but looks like he is able to just walk away.
Yeah, it's Zephyr did try to throw his combo out, but without the Atos, he was missing some damage in the Mystic Flare, and it just kind of whiffs it. Not the ideal situation, but I think he was really just kind of testing waters there. So the hook shot is down as well. Not the biggest spells to throw out. They did manage to get some good wards down here for T1 though. They get to control that bot jungle a bit better. We are seeing, again, that steady build-up in their farm. Neon is slightly ahead, though. They do maintain a 1 to 2k lead here, as they are farming with Magnus, and this is what you expect with the Mag lineup. So as long as T1's not actually finding more objectives, Neon can actually keep overtaking and farm. And you talked about this, right? Like, the defusal timing is not quite there yet for Natsumi anyway. There's no real rush for Neon. They can just play this farm game, and as long as they have some moderate defense for towers, they're not going to be too upset with how this game's going.
Well, I'd say the timing's actually pretty decent for Natsumi. He did skip out on a Wraith ban, but overall, like, if he has it by 14 minutes, it's pretty early. Bot lane Cuckoo gonna get caught out now. Earthsplitter was there, and Natsumi will basically almost finish off that defusal now. Just needs about 50 gold. So things are going very well for this Neon side, and T1, you're getting to that stage where you might start to feel a bit afraid of how well Natsumi's about to snowball. It's, the timing's been hit.
Pretty much. Like, this Riki is going to start to rip into the back line. Your Oracle and your Sky is not going to be safe. You're going to have to see a lot of sentries drop while you're roaming around the map, just to ensure that the pickoffs don't happen in those key supports. with that diffusal finally up. Neon's also been sitting on this RP timing, although the blink for Yopaj is about 400 gold off. So once you have that blink with this diffusal, with the egg, you're going to have a lot of tools for Neon to jump into the fights. In T1, they haven't had the opportunity to maximize a chrono. Jackie's going for that standard Mask of Madness after the Midas, as we have seen time and time again. They do have the blink up on Cuckoo, but that is, again, single target pickoff. So it's either they smoke up for a gank, find one, and kind of just roll that way, which we haven't seen too much, but I think it's time for T1 to start playing the gank train here.
You kind of hope so, but I don't know. I mean, with this Cuckoo blink, it might be about that time. They are a bit low in net worth right now, T1. But now, just chilling out. Looks like Zephyr does have a smoke up, and they are going to go for a 3-man rotation. However, counter smoke is going to be there from Neon now as well, and they might just run straight into each other as Natsumi does break the smoke and play hard, just jump straight in. They want to burst down the Oracle, and they will get him easily. But now the Mystic Flare flying in. Natsumi going to go down, and Jackie does join his team. They get to a duel out from Cuckoo's Water, set up onto that Phoenix. They will find a third. Skem also goes down. Looks like the side of Neon just getting a bit too excited there to go for that team fight. They did not have any vision on the backside.
Yeah, it's just an immediate jump as soon as the smoke broke onto Ricky. They also didn't quite have Yopaj in the right spot. Like, he had his blink. That's why they smoked up, but he wasn't in a position to follow up with an RP. And T1 was the more disciplined team to stay slightly split up. So they get rewarded. They underestimate the damage a Sky can pump out as well. Like, Mystic Flare at level 1 is devastating without any magic damage mitigation at all. So Neon's got to respect the Sky here. And Zephyr is just at the right spot with the combination of the cogs working against Neon in that case, trapping them inside the Mystic Flare. Just a bit reckless for Neon. So they've got to go back to the drawing board in T1 while they stall out some more. Jackie gets to maximize his Mom Midas and just keep farming.
That he does. So he's going to go into that BKB build-up next for Jackie. And I'll tell you what, John, that last team fight really did a number on Natsumi's net worth. Sitting at second before that team fight, now sitting at fourth. It's just kind of how fast things can change when you are playing a bit more of a cheesy POS 1 like the Ricky. Can kind of work against you if you aren't able to get those early pickoffs going. Look at Cuckoo and Whitemon right now. They're staring him down. He's right under the sentry ward, but Cuckoo is not going to make the jump quick enough. They do dust up, but Natsumi, he had an observer ward there, so he saw them. So he is going to be able to back off just in the nick of time.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty happy for wasting that dust. So just a few resources taken away from Cuckoo. Of course, I look at Cuckoo and I love the build-up into a 4-staff. Again, it's just the emphasis on getting out of that smoke screen, getting out of the control that the Ricky can bring out. Of course, having a way of bailing out of cogs as well. That should help T1 just, again, run around here and maximize what they have. We aren't seeing the early build-up into a Glimmer Cape coming out from any of the Sports of Neon. So the magic damage you're seeing from the Lush, from the Sky, is going to stay around for a little bit longer. The Blade Mail on Playhard might make it harder for both Zephyr and Carl to get the full damage out, but as long as they are aware of that, I think it's not going to be a massive issue so far. Not yet, anyway.
It is definitely not. Still got the chrono up now on Jackie, but just doesn't seem like he's stressed out whatsoever to throw it out. Still just happily farming away. He's about to overtake Yopaj in terms of farm. Definitely great news for him. Especially considering you don't have anything like an Empower for Jackie this game. Both these cores are trying to look for a BKB right now. Just nullify a lot of that damage that is coming out. Natsumi just going for the standard man to build up after the defusal. It's going to be very effective in dealing with the Skyrath Mage's Ancient Seal. So I believe that's really the only form of lockdown that he can avoid this game. That and the Fortune's End. Everything else you kind of just screw it over with the chrono and the jewel. Natsumi looking to make a run up.
I think the big issue for Neon right now is that they've been sitting on Yopage's blink for at least a good 5 minutes now, maybe 3 minutes, which is not great. Like, you've got this major timing on your Magnus. Blink Echo Saber is just huge for the hero. It's been so long that they've allowed Carl to farm up a quick Eggs, and that's just a massive damage spike and control spike for Carl. So you're gonna have to face that now when you do jump in. And I think Neon, I mean, yeah, they're farming up. Yeah, they're forcing this game to go slow against a Magnus with a power, with a Ricky around to maximize it. But it doesn't feel like they're really using these good spikes. And you can see T1, they have smoked up. They still hold on to that chrono, and they could find something.
I think that was half the problem there for Neon Esports, is they knew that all those ultis were up. They just don't really know what to do about it. In fact, Jackie going to run straight into Yopage, but he does manage to blink away. Fortune's End was there. Jackie's still unable to find a chrono. Meanwhile, Natsumi does lose his courier, but will eventually lose his life as well. So Januel and Natsumi both dying, and now the hookshot is out. They're trying to jump onto the Oracle, but Whitemon, he's going to be just fine, as now a Jewel is there from Cuckoo, just to make sure they kill off the Clockwork. And that's going to be the third kill being achieved by T1. And it really didn't look tough, John. Yeah, they commit their ultis, but it looked like child's play for them.
The big issue is Neon can't get the counter initiation out. They go in one by one. T1 might not be finding the biggest chronos, they might not be finding the biggest clump ups, but they don't need to. It's so scattered out that Neon doesn't have an avenue to come back in with their RP, and now into the Roche T1 go is going to be a quick one. There were wards to spot this out. Neon can go and contest.
Well, the Rocket Flare and Astral Spirit is going to give a bit more vision. The T1, they'll leave the Roshan B at quite a low HP. There'll be a smoke up now from Neon. It was not scouted out, but T1 might just guess this is happening. Another Rocket Flare will scout out Jackie now, and that should kind of give away what's happening. Natsumi underneath the Sentry Ward. Jackie, he doesn't see him yet, but Whitemon does. Tries to get away, but he will go down. Meanwhile, Yopage trying to go for the skewer back onto Jackie, but the BKB and now Cuckoo is in with the jewel. Natsumi's gone down again, and that'll be Yopage also dying. Play hard. He's hook-shotted himself in, but it's going to be no good. He's been left by himself, or maybe not. The Phoenix is still there. Skem trying to help him out, but it's just not going to help enough. They will lose more. Skem has an Icarus dive. Fortune's End is going to follow him down, but looks like he won't really be punished for it. Instead, T1, they really want the Roshan, and that's exactly where they'll go.
Oh.
Meteor Hammer. It's going to land on Jackie. Problem is, now you don't have the Icarus dive, so you can't really hope to go for a steal attempt.
Yeah, and the issues for Neon, again, they just can't fight well. Like, they aren't throwing out the RPs. The egg was in an awkward spot coming out from Skem. So there was no follow-up in that fight, and T1, again, they turned it around. They didn't have chrono, but it doesn't matter when your enemies can't find the right angle. I think Yopage needs to play with a blink. Like, right now, he's just running up. He needs to blink into the RP and needs to land it on at least 2 heroes, find the cleanup, get the numbers advantage, and go from there.
Yeah, this draft from Neon, I mean, it's starting to seem like it's maybe falling apart a little bit. You know, we talked about the Ricky so many times during this game, John, but it just hasn't taken off. Natsumi sitting at 3-4 and 3 right now, not feeling very good. Because he still has the potential to try and bring it back his way, but it is very tough when you consider the fact that he is up against that Void, and there's just so much catch for the man. In fact, speaking of that Void, Jackie trying to make a jump in onto Skem now, but Skem will be able to Icarus dive away. He'll be just fine. But Jackie knows he's free to just farm up wherever he wants on the map, and he's never really going to be afraid of dying. Especially with this Aegis in hand, it's just hard to imagine they get a kill onto it.
Nah, it's really difficult to kill Jackie twice over here. And he's got still a 9-second charge into BKB as well, so keeping him pinned down. Besides RP, you have nothing. Still, Neon, they do smoke up. Gonna be a bit risky, but if Yopage finds the angle, this might be it. They've got a BKB on their Magnus as well. That could be what allows him to get that positioning.
Cuckoo may get caught out, but he is ready to break the smoke if it is coming in. And Neon, they don't want the Legion Commander. They need a bigger target than that. Still Cuckoo blocking their pathway. They try for Whitemon, but the hook shot barely off target. And now Carl just going to jump in. Looks like Natsumi will continue going after Whitemon, but he'll get forced staffed away and survive through all of it. Now the Chrono's down as well. Jackie, he's caught out a couple. It looks like Natsumi is going to go down. The Jewel out as well onto Playhard. Yopashi's trying to find an RP. Jackie is not going to get stunned, however. And Cuckoo is going to be just fine underneath the guise of the false promise. They found even more. The Phoenix is there. Skem, he will go down. Carl's on an ultra kill. And it's just looking worse and worse here for Neon Esports.
Oh man, T1 just played that perfectly. Jackie, seeing the BKB pop, immediately commits to Chrono, knowing that that was a trade that he could go for. The egg in the background lasted so long, but it just didn't catch the key heroes. And Neon, again, just not finding the angle. It's a really good split up from T1. They get some good damage onto these tier 3s, and they can sustain this high ground push.
Jackie, I mean, he's getting close to dying, but he just time walks off all the damage, and well, they just give him the free reset. Yopaj, however, nice skewer back, but well, the smoke screen was not there in time either. Jackie just time walks away. Hookshot is there onto Cuckoo, but where's your follow-up? Have they got enough? They're going to try onto Carl now. The Leshrac is dropping low, but Jackie has already gotten rid of the clock. Now the Jewel out from Cuckoo. After the skewer back, Yopaj does win the Jewel. Jackie's still trying to rush forward to find more. It's like, I guess the one positive is you do kill off Cuckoo, you do get a free Jewel win. Carl is going to have his TP cancelled off. But he's going to be alright. Just runs away.
It could have been a lot worse for Neon. So overall, I think they're pretty fine. They only lose a tier 3 in the end in terms of objectives. And again, that freebie you mentioned, the duel, is nice on Yopaj. Bumps up his damage. They are still in dire straits. So 11 to 19, 9k lead for T1 and Yopaj.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. He has no skewer. He has no way to blink out. Carl is having a field day here on this Leshrac. Currently sitting at 10, 3, and 5. Well, they are kind of sneakily coming up behind the Lesh, but I just don't feel like they'd have the damage anyway. Carl is just fine.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic time. And we were talking about the weaknesses of the Magic in this draft. Again, just no Glimmer Cape, no Pipe, no Hood of Defiance. It just means that they're allowed to just keep that damage output up. And they melt through the tier 2. Only the top lane left here for Neon to play with. And that just allows T1 to swing down to those bottom racks.
Going to be fairly free racks to take, unless they make a jump in soon. They can't really do it without their Magnus, however. They do have to wait. On the brighter side, Aegis does expire, so they are forced to back now. But I think T1 going to be more than happy with the fact that they did just take that melee barracks, and that's off to go for the outpost, perhaps.
Yeah, it's free objectives. There's not going to be any concession from Neon. They really just have to play the team fight. Like, we saw it once early on, right? Like, when they came in with the RP, Yopaj cleaned up 2, they got the numbers advantage, and when Cuckoo.
Yeah, mid lane just jumped straight onto Natsumi by himself, and the Mystic Flare's going to be there. Just in the nick of time from Zephyr, and they win another duel. And poor old Natsumi just can't catch a break on this Riki. They just continue to rush forward. Carl doesn't have a Yule Scepter or anything like that, but I don't think they mind. They got the most important kill they could get. They just back off, back to farming the triangle.
And they start to pick up those tier 3 items as well. So they've got better control on the map. They're going to find those camps, find the tier 3 items. They are cutting the wave, so they can't quite reach the tier 2 top because their wave is shoved out. But they get the tier 1. They're starting to TP, and they might hunt in that jungle.
They may. With the Chrono up, why the hell not? Cuckoo has the Jewel up again as well, so Skem's in big trouble. He'll go for an Icarus dive, but Cuckoo has so much mobility. He just 4-star blinks in. The Stomp's not going to be there in time. And they even go for more now. Mystic Flare coming out from Zephyr. Play hard. in a bit of trouble here, but Jackie isn't bothering with him yet. He'll let Carl do the job. RP going to come out from Yopaj. A very nice one at that. Underneath the tier 3 tower. Carl's getting low, but Whitemon will throw out the walls, promise and save him. And now the chrono is there from Jackie, connecting on 2. There goes Natsumi. Yopaj is in trouble as well. He's going to die. The buybacks aren't there, and they'll call the GG. They have had enough of this game number 1. The Scam might just die one more time before the game does end. And that is a very dominant victory here from T1.
Yeah, they played perfectly. They had the patience early on. It looked like a really drawn game with Neon getting out an early lead. They were finding really good farm with their Magnus draft. Yopaj was off to a fantastic start in terms of itemization. Our Ricky defusal timing was pretty good as well. It's just they never found the opportunities to use those spells, to use those spikes. And T1 was just allowed to sit back, to farm. They found their spikes with their Legion Commander and their Skyrat Mage. They were allowed to get Carl that bounce back after a really slow lane. And Neon just kind of dropped the ball at around the, 12-minute mark, I think, is where they really took their time a bit too much, 12 to 15. They needed to play with that Blink Echo a lot more, and they just didn't find the openings.
No, they didn't. Look, we'll see what they can do in game number 2. Obviously, that was a very rough game for Neon here in this game number 1. They do have a secondary chance to try and tie up the series, and well, they definitely have to try something, John, because T1 looked like they had no problems taking that game 1 off them. It is, of course, MLP Dota and johnxfire, though. We'll be back after a 10-minute break to see how this game number 2 will go. We'll see you soon.